Under the car, both of you. Immigration enforcement.
I'm a police officer, Lieutenant, Birmingham PD.
What?
My badge is in my wallet.
Sure. And I'm the president. Hands on the vehicle, now.
My mother's 70 years old. She has a heart condition. You scaring her.
You can sit tight while we verify your story. Turn around, hands behind your back.
The body camera mounted on Agent Raymond Kowalski's chest recorded everything that Saturday afternoon at 2:47 p.m. The camera was standard federal issue, 1080p video with audio, automatically uploading to secure servers every 60 seconds, capturing everything in sharp detail whether the agent wanted it to or not. It recorded the view from Kowalski's chest as he approached a black Dodge Charger stopped at Pump 7 of the Chevron station on Bessemer Road in Birmingham, Alabama. It recorded a black man in his late 30s standing beside the driver's door and an elderly black woman seated in the passenger seat, her window rolled down, her face etched with confusion and fear. And it recorded everything that happened when Agent Kowalski decided that a son filling his mother's car with gas needed to prove he belonged in his own country. Before we continue, drop your city in the comments. Where are you watching from? And if this is your first time here, hit that subscribe button. Stories like this don't get told unless we tell them, and your support helps us bring more people to the truth. Lieutenant Marcus Jerome Patterson was 38 years old. He had served with the Birmingham Police Department for 16 years, starting as a patrol officer at 22, working his way up through the ranks with a discipline and dedication that had earned him commendation after commendation. He had been promoted to detective at 28, sergeant at 32, and lieutenant at 35. He commanded the department's Community Relations Unit, a position created specifically for him because of his ability to build bridges between the police and the communities they served. He was born in Birmingham, Alabama in 1986, in the same city where his mother had nearly died 23 years earlier. His father, Jerome Patterson Sr., was born in Bessemer in 1955. His mother, Dorothy Mae Patterson, was born in Birmingham in 1954. She had been 9 years old on September 15, 1963, when a bomb planted by white supremacists exploded at the 16th Street Baptist Church, killing 4 little girls and injuring 22 others. Dorothy Mae had been in the basement that morning, in her Sunday school class, sitting 3 rows behind Addie Mae Collins, Cynthia Wesley, Carol Robertson, and Carol Denise McNair. She remembered the sound, a roar that seemed to come from everywhere at once. She remembered the ceiling falling. She remembered the screams. She remembered waking up in the hospital with her mother crying over her, bandages covering the cuts on her face and arms from the flying glass and debris. She still carried the scars. Small white lines on her left forearm, a faint mark near her temple where a piece of stained glass had embedded itself in her skin. She still flinched at loud noises. She still had nightmares, even 61 years later. She still visited the church every September 15th to lay flowers at the memorial for the 4 girls who hadn't survived. Dorothy Mae Patterson was a living witness to one of the most horrific acts of racial terrorism in American history. And she was about to watch her son be handcuffed by federal agents for the crime of being black at a gas station. Marcus had joined the Birmingham Police Department in 2008, inspired by a desire to protect a community that had seen too much violence, too much injustice, too much pain. He had grown up hearing his mother's stories about the bombing, about the civil rights movement, about the long struggle for equality that had shaped their city. He wanted to be part of the solution. In 16 years on the force, he had received the Medal of Valor twice, once for pulling a family from a burning car on Dodge 65, and once for talking down an armed man who had taken hostages at a convenience store. He had received the Distinguished Service Medal 3 times. He had been named Officer of the Year by the Birmingham Civic Association. He had a wall full of commendations and a reputation as one of the finest officers in the department. His wife, Angela, was a pediatric nurse at Children's of Alabama. They had 2 children, Jerome III, 12, and Maya, 9. They lived in a 4-bedroom house in the Roebuck Springs neighborhood, the same neighborhood where Marcus had grown up, the same house his parents had bought in 1982. His father had passed in 2019, prostate cancer, and Marcus had moved his mother into their home rather than let her live alone. Every Saturday, weather permitting, Marcus drove his mother to visit her sister in Bessemer. It was their routine. He would fill up the car at the Chevron on Bessemer Road, his mother's favorite station because the attendant, an older white man named Earl, always called her Miss Dorothy and asked about her garden. Then they would drive to Aunt Ruthie's house for lunch, then back home in time for Dorothy to watch her evening game shows. It was a simple routine, a son taking care of his mother. The kind of ordinary Saturday that shouldn't require explanation. But on this Saturday, Earl wasn't working, and a white, unmarked SUV with government plates had pulled into the station right behind them. Marcus was standing at the pump, watching the numbers tick up, when he noticed the SUV, 2 men inside, white, watching him. He noticed the way they were positioned, parked at an angle that would block his exit if he tried to leave. He noticed the tactical vest visible through the windshield. 16 years as a cop. He recognized surveillance when he saw it. Agent Raymond Kowalski was 44 years old. He had been with Immigration and Customs Enforcement for 11 years, following a career in the Army that had ended with a general discharge under honorable conditions, the kind of discharge that suggested problems without specifying what they were. He had a reputation in the Birmingham field office for being aggressive, for pushing boundaries, for treating every interaction like a potential arrest. His partner, Agent Stephen Walsh, was 39 and had been with ICE for 7 years. He was the cautious one, the one who usually suggested calling for backup or verifying information before acting. He was also the one who had never once stopped Kowalski from doing what Kowalski wanted to do. They had spent the morning looking for a man named Carlos Mendez, who had overstayed a visa and had an outstanding deportation order. They hadn't found him. They were driving back to the field office when Kowalski spotted Marcus Patterson at the gas pump. What Kowalski saw was a young black man in a black Dodge Charger, a car popular with drug dealers in Kowalski's mind, at a gas station in a neighborhood that had seen increased ICE activity. What he decided in that moment, based on nothing but assumption, was that this man warranted investigation. He pulled the SUV into the station and parked behind the Charger. The body camera recorded Kowalski approaching the vehicle. It recorded Marcus turning to face him, his posture shifting from relaxed to alert. It recorded Dorothy Mae Patterson in the passenger seat, her window down, her face visible. An elderly woman in her Sunday best, even though it was Saturday, because Dorothy still dressed up whenever she left the house. Out of the car, both of you. Immigration enforcement. Marcus felt his training take over. Stay calm. Keep your hands visible. Don't escalate. I'm a police officer, Lieutenant, Birmingham PD. My badge is in my wallet. He said it clearly, the way he had identified himself in 1,000 professional situations, the way cops identify themselves to other cops. Kowalski's body camera captured his response, a smirk, a dismissive shake of the head. Sure. And I'm the president. Hands on the vehicle, now. Should federal agents be allowed to detain police officers at gas stations based on nothing but the color of their skin? Comment below, because what happened next would expose a pattern that had been destroying lives for years. Marcus kept his voice steady, even as he felt his heart pounding. My mother is 70 years old. She has a heart condition. You're scaring her. He glanced at the passenger seat. Dorothy was gripping the door handle, her knuckles white, her eyes wide. She was breathing too fast. He recognized the signs of a panic attack. He had seen them before, when loud noises startled her, when something triggered the memories she could never fully escape. Mama, it's okay. It's going to be okay. She can sit tight while we verify your story. Turn around. Hands behind your back. I am not going to turn around. I have not committed any crime. I am a lieutenant with the Birmingham Police Department. My badge number is 2847. I have been on the force for 16 years. I am an American citizen. I was born in this city. My mother was born in this city. She survived the 16th Street Baptist Church bombing in 1963. Our family has been in Alabama for 6 generations. He spoke clearly, for the body camera, for whatever record would survive this moment. You can call the Birmingham PD and verify my identity in 30 seconds. You can call my captain, James Morrison, badge number 1523. You can call the chief of police. He knows me personally. But I am not going to turn around and put my hands behind my back because I have done nothing wrong, and my mother is watching." Kowalski's face flushed red. The body camera captured it, the anger, the frustration of a man who wasn't used to being challenged. "I don't care if you're the Pope. When ICE gives you an order, you follow it." "No, Agent, that's not how this works. I know exactly how this works because I enforce the law for a living. You have no reasonable suspicion. You have no probable cause. You approached me based on nothing but my appearance. That is racial profiling, and it is illegal." Walsh, the younger agent, stepped forward. He had been hanging back near the SUV, but now he approached, his body camera capturing the scene from a second angle. "Ray, maybe we should verify. If he's really a cop, he's not a cop. Look at him. Probably stole the car." The words were captured by both body cameras. Recorded. Preserved forever. Dorothy Mae Patterson heard them from inside the car. Her son, her baby boy, the lieutenant who had dedicated his life to protecting people. And this man was calling him a car thief. She opened the door. Slowly, painfully. At 70, with arthritis in her knees and a heart that had been weakened by years of medication, every movement was careful. "Mama, stay in the car." But Dorothy was already standing, one hand on the doorframe for support, the other clutching her purse. "My son is not a thief." Her voice was quiet but steady. The voice of a woman who had survived a bombing, who had buried 4 friends before she turned 10, who had marched for civil rights while men with dogs and fire hoses tried to stop her. "My son is a police officer. He has saved lives. He has served this city for 16 years. And I did not survive the 16th Street Baptist Church bombing to watch federal agents treat my child like a criminal for buying gasoline." The body camera captured Kowalski's face. Momentary confusion, then dismissal. "Ma'am, get back in the vehicle." "I will not. My name is Dorothy Mae Patterson. I was 9 years old when white men bombed my church and killed my friends. I have the scars on my body. I have carried the memories for 61 years, and I know what hatred looks like. I'm looking at it right now." A crowd was beginning to gather, other customers at the gas station. A man who had been inside buying cigarettes. A woman who had pulled in behind the ICE vehicle and couldn't get out. Phones came out. 5, 8, 12 phones, all recording. An older white man, Earl, the attendant who had come in for a Saturday shift after all, walked out of the station office. He took one look at the scene and his face went pale. "What the hell is going on here? That's Lieutenant Patterson. I've known him for 20 years. His mama, too. What are you doing?" Kowalski turned toward Earl. "Sir, this is federal business. Step back." "Federal business harassing one of the best cops in Birmingham? One of the finest young men I've ever known? His daddy used to bring him here when he was a boy. I watched him grow up. You're making a goddamn mistake." The crowd was growing. 20 people now. The body cameras captured all of it. The witnesses, the phones, the growing chorus of voices questioning what was happening. Marcus pulled out his phone slowly, keeping his movements visible. "I'm going to call my captain now. You can explain to him why you're detaining his lieutenant at a gas station while his mother watches." He dialed. Captain Morrison answered on the second ring. "Captain, this is Marcus. I'm at the Chevron on Bessemer Road. 2 ICE agents have detained me. They don't believe I'm a police officer. My mother is here. She's having a panic attack. I need you to contact the ICE field office and verify my identity." "Yes, sir. Right now." He held the phone toward Kowalski. "Captain James Morrison, Birmingham Police Department. He'd like to speak with you." Kowalski didn't take the phone. It sat in Marcus's outstretched hand for 10 seconds. The crowd watched. The cameras recorded. Captain Morrison's voice could be heard through the speaker, asking what the hell was going on. Walsh finally stepped forward and took the phone. The conversation lasted 4 minutes. Walsh's face went through several transformations: skepticism, concern, recognition, fear. He ended the call and handed the phone back to Marcus. "Ray, he's a lieutenant. Birmingham PD confirmed it. His captain is on the way. The chief of police has been notified. We need to go, now." But Kowalski had already done it. The body camera captured the moment, Kowalski grabbing Marcus's arm, spinning him around, shoving him against the car. The click of handcuffs closing around his wrist, Dorothy screaming, the crowd shouting, "You're under arrest for obstruction and failure to comply with a federal officer." "I did not obstruct anything. I did not fail to comply with any lawful order. You have no authority to arrest me. This is false arrest, and you are being recorded by your own body camera." Marcus's voice was steady even as his face was pressed against the hot metal of the car. 16 years of training. Stay calm. Document everything. Survive. Dorothy had collapsed against the side of the car, her hand pressed to her chest. A woman from the crowd, a nurse as it turned out, rushed over to help her. "Ma'am, are you okay? Do you have chest pain?" My son! They're hurting my son!" The body camera captured everything. The elderly woman, struggling to breathe. The crowd pressing closer. The phones recording from every angle. The moment when everything that could go wrong had gone wrong. And then the sirens. Captain James Morrison arrived in 7 minutes, lights and sirens blazing. Behind him, 2 more Birmingham PD cruisers. Behind them, the chief of police's unmarked vehicle. Chief Robert Franklin stepped out of his car and walked directly toward Kowalski. He was 58 years old, a 32-year veteran of the department, and he had a look on his face that suggested someone was about to have a very bad day. "Take the cuffs off my lieutenant, now." Kowalski hesitated. "I said now." The body camera captured Kowalski removing the handcuffs. It captured Marcus rubbing his wrists, red marks already forming. It captured Dorothy being helped into an ambulance that had arrived with the police cars, her blood pressure spiking dangerously high. Chief Franklin turned to Kowalski. "Agent, I want your name, your badge number, and your supervisor's contact information. Lieutenant Patterson is one of the finest officers in my department. He has served this city with distinction for 16 years. His mother is a survivor of the 16th Street Baptist Church bombing, one of the most sacred figures in this city's history. And you just handcuffed her son in front of her at a gas station." He stepped closer. "I don't know what ICE teaches you about community relations, but I promise you this. What happened here today will have consequences. Not threats, consequences. Do you understand me?" Kowalski had no response. His body camera captured his silence, the silence of a man who had finally realized how badly he had miscalculated. "Do you think federal agents should face criminal charges for racial profiling? Let me know in the comments, because the lawsuit that followed would set a new precedent." Dorothy Mae Patterson was transported to UAB Hospital and kept overnight for observation. Her blood pressure had spiked to 190/110, stroke territory. She survived, but the doctors told Marcus that another incident like that could kill her. She spent 3 days in the hospital. When she came home, she didn't speak for a week. The woman who had survived a bombing, who had marched for civil rights, who had raised a son to be one of the finest police officers in Birmingham, that woman sat in her chair and stared out the window and didn't say a word. Marcus took a leave of absence from work. He couldn't leave her alone. He couldn't be sure she would be okay. The lawsuit was filed 4 weeks later in federal court. Marcus Jerome Patterson and Dorothy Mae Patterson versus the United States Department of Homeland Security, Immigration and Customs Enforcement, Agent Raymond Kowalski, and Agent Stephen Walsh. Marcus retained civil rights attorney Nathaniel Brooks of Brooks and Associates in Birmingham, a firm that had won over $120 million in civil rights settlements over the past 25 years. Brooks had argued before the Supreme Court 3 times and won twice. His track record against federal agencies was 34-2. "This case is about more than one traffic stop," Brooks said at the press conference announcing the lawsuit. "This is about a pattern of racial profiling that treats Black Americans as suspects in their own country." Marcus Patterson is a decorated police lieutenant. Dorothy Mae Patterson is a survivor of one of the worst acts of domestic terrorism in American history. If they're not safe from ICE harassment, no one is. The evidence was overwhelming. Agent Kowalski's body camera footage showed the entire confrontation, his approach, his demands, his dismissal of Marcus's credentials, the devastating moment when he called a police lieutenant, probably stole the car, and the arrest that followed. Agent Walsh's body camera captured the crowd's reaction and Dorothy's medical distress. The cell phone videos from bystanders showed angles the body cameras missed. Captain Morrison's phone records confirmed the verification call that Kowalski ignored. Kowalski's personnel file was subpoenaed. It revealed a pattern that should have ended his career years earlier. In 11 years with ICE, Kowalski had initiated 142 stops or detentions. Of those, 119 involved Black or Hispanic individuals, 84%. Of those 119, only 23 resulted in confirmed immigration violations. The other 96 were American citizens or legal residents who were stopped, questioned, and humiliated based on nothing but Kowalski's assumptions. The file also revealed his Army history. The general discharge had been related to complaints of racial harassment from subordinates. It revealed 6 prior complaints filed against him during his ICE career. All 6 had been dismissed as unsubstantiated, despite body camera evidence supporting the complainants in at least 3 cases. ICE offered a settlement 6 months before trial, $2 million and a confidentiality agreement. Brooks sent back a one-word response, no. They offered $4 million, no. They offered $7 million. My clients aren't interested in being silenced, Brooks told their attorneys. They're interested in making sure this never happens to another family. See you in court. The trial lasted 4 weeks in federal court in Birmingham, before a diverse jury in a city that understood, perhaps better than any city in America, the weight of what was being decided. Marcus Patterson testified for 3 days. He walked the jury through his 16-year career, the commendations, the lives saved, the community he had served. He described the moment he saw the ICE agents at the gas station. He described the handcuffs closing around his wrists. He described listening to his mother's screams while his face was pressed against the car. He described what it felt like to have 16 years of service mean nothing to a man who looked at him and saw only a suspect. On cross-examination, the defense attorney suggested that Marcus had been uncooperative, that his refusal to immediately comply had escalated the situation. Marcus's response was quoted in newspapers across the country. I identified myself as a police lieutenant. I offered my badge number. I offered to have my captain verify my identity. I did everything a cooperative citizen should do. And Agent Kowalski's response was to suggest I had stolen my own car. He paused. There is no amount of cooperation that would have satisfied Agent Kowalski because his suspicion wasn't based on my behavior. It was based on my skin. I could have shown him my badge, my service record, my Medal of Valor, and he still would have assumed I was lying. Because in his mind, a black man in a Dodge Charger cannot possibly be a police lieutenant. That assumption nearly killed my mother. That assumption is what this trial is about. Dorothy Mae Patterson testified for 1 day. She was wheeled into the courtroom. Her doctors had advised against walking long distances since the incident, and she sat in the witness chair and told the jury about September 15, 1963. She told them about the sound of the bomb, about waking up in the hospital, about the 4 little girls who didn't wake up at all, Addie Mae, Cynthia, Carol, and Denise, whose names she still said in her prayers every night. She told them about watching her son be handcuffed at a gas station 61 years later and realizing that some things hadn't changed as much as she had hoped. I survived that bombing because God had a purpose for me. I believe that purpose was to raise my son, to raise him to be a good man, a protector, a servant of his community. And I had to watch federal agents treat him like a criminal for the color of his skin. In the same city where my friends were murdered for the color of theirs. She paused. The courtroom was silent. I'm 70 years old. I don't have much time left. But I needed to come here today and tell you, this isn't history. This is now. This is still happening, and it has to stop. Agent Kowalski testified in his own defense. Under cross-examination, Brooks asked him one question that would be replayed for years. Agent Kowalski, you testified that Lieutenant Patterson fit a description. Can you tell the jury what that description was? Kowalski was silent for 12 seconds. A male. In the area. A black male at a gas station in Birmingham. That was your description. Silence. And when Lieutenant Patterson identified himself as a police officer and offered his badge number, you responded. And I'm quoting your own body camera here. Sure, and I'm the president. Why didn't you verify his claim? I didn't believe him. You didn't believe that a black man could be a police lieutenant. That's not what I said. Then what did you believe, Agent Kowalski? When you looked at Lieutenant Patterson, a decorated officer with 16 years of service, and decided he had probably stole the car, what exactly were you basing that belief on? Kowalski had no answer. No further questions. The jury deliberated for 7 hours and 45 minutes. When they returned, the courtroom fell silent, liable on all counts. The damages phase took another 5 days. The jury heard expert testimony about the value of Lieutenant Patterson's career, his reputation, the psychological trauma of being arrested in front of his mother. They heard medical testimony about Dorothy's cardiac episode and ongoing health complications. They heard about the broader impact on the Patterson family, the children who now feared police encounters, the community trust that had been shattered. The verdict, $16.1 million total. $6.3 million in compensatory damages to Marcus Patterson for emotional distress, reputational harm, and the physical trauma of wrongful arrest. $4.2 million in compensatory damages to Dorothy Mae Patterson for her medical emergency, ongoing health complications, and the psychological trauma of watching her son be arrested. $4.6 million in punitive damages against ICE for their pattern of tolerating agents like Kowalski, for dismissing complaints for allowing racial profiling to flourish unchecked. $1 million in additional damages for the violation of the sensitive locations policy and the particularly egregious nature of the conduct. Agent Raymond Kowalski was placed on immediate administrative leave following the verdict. 5 months later, after internal review proceedings concluded, he was officially terminated. His federal law enforcement credentials were permanently revoked. The Army upgraded his discharge file to include the civil verdict, ensuring it would follow him for the rest of his career. Agent Stephen Walsh received an 8-month suspension without pay and was permanently reassigned to administrative duties with no field authority. The regional ICE director, who had dismissed the 6 prior complaints against Kowalski, was terminated 3 months after the verdict. 2 supervisors who had approved those dismissals were demoted. ICE was required to implement sweeping reforms, new training on implicit bias and civil rights, mandatory verification protocols before any detention, enhanced review of all complaints, and quarterly reporting to a federal monitor. The body camera footage from the Chevron station became required viewing in the training program. Lieutenant Marcus Patterson returned to duty 3 months after the verdict. He was promoted to captain 6 months later, the youngest in the department's history. He now runs the department's training academy, where he teaches new officers about community relations, implicit bias, and the responsibility that comes with wearing a badge. He donated $3 million of his settlement to establish the Dorothy Mae Patterson Foundation, providing scholarships for children of civil rights activists and funding civil rights education in Birmingham schools. The foundation's first major project was a renovation of the 16th Street Baptist Church Memorial. Dorothy Mae Patterson celebrated her 71st birthday 4 months after the trial. The entire Birmingham Police Department sent flowers. Chief Franklin came to the party personally. She still doesn't like loud noises. She still has nightmares, but she also has something she didn't have before: the knowledge that her testimony helped change things, even if just a little. "I survived that bombing for a reason," she told a reporter on the anniversary of the verdict. "Maybe this was it. Maybe this was what I was supposed to do all along, stand up one more time, even when I was scared, even when my heart was given out. Stand up and say, enough." Marcus still drives his mother to Bessemer every Saturday to visit Aunt Ruthie. They still stop at the Chevron on Bessemer Road. Earl still calls her Miss Dorothy and asks about her garden. Some things haven't changed, but the body camera footage from that Saturday afternoon is now shown in federal law enforcement training programs across the country. It shows what happens when agents forget their training, forget their policies, forget that the people they encounter are human beings with histories and families and stories that deserve respect. And it shows Dorothy Mae Patterson, a survivor of the 16th Street Baptist Church bombing, standing beside her son's car at 70 years old, telling a federal agent, "I did not survive that bombing to watch you treat my child like a criminal." If you believe that a gas station should be safe ground, that 16 years of service should mean something, that a mother should not have to watch her son be handcuffed for buying gasoline, hit that subscribe button. Share this video. Tell this story. Because in a country where a police lieutenant can be arrested for being black at a gas station while his mother, a bombing survivor, watches, none of us are safe from assumption. The badge didn't protect Marcus Patterson that day. The body cameras did. And the courage of a 70-year-old woman who had already survived the worst this country could do to her and refused to let it happen to her son. That's what they couldn't take from the Pattersons. That's what they'll never take from any of us. Not if we keep watching, not if we keep recording, not if we keep telling these stories until they finally stop happening. Dorothy Mae Patterson still visits the 16th Street Baptist Church every September 15th. She still lays flowers at the memorial. She still says the names: Addie Mae Collins, Cynthia Wesley, Carol Robertson, Carol Denise McNair. And now she adds a prayer of thanks. That she survived, that her son survived, that their story might help others survive too. Some ground is sacred. Some witnesses are irreplaceable. And some courage never dies. It just waits for the moment when it's needed most.